Thousands of years ago, humanity began looking up at the stars and inward at themselves, seeking to understand exactly how we fit into the machinery of the cosmos. The authors of the ancient Upanishads arrived at a specific conclusion, captured in the Sanskrit phrase, Tat Twam Asi, thou art that. It posits that the conscious observer and the vast universe being observed are the same thing. For millennia, this was treated as a poetic ideal, a fleeting state achieved only by those who spent decades in meditation. The barrier was biological. Your brain processes its own reality, locked inside a skull and walled off from the sensory experience of every other living thing. By the year 2078, that isolation is gone. Total unity with the biosphere has become a hardwired, biologically engineered default. This page outlines a perspective where the ancient rishis weren't writing metaphors. They were documenting a physical structure they perceived in deep meditation, a structure we can finally build using 21st century technology. Along the Indian Ocean in the garden arcology, human biology is radically remapped. Dr. Amrita Voss serves as a clear example of this physical transformation. Symbiotic cyanobacterial veins are laced into her skin. They glow gold, acting as a direct physical interface with the planetary carbon cycle. This creates an immediate feedback loop with the environment. When Amrita exhales carbon dioxide, the nearest mangrove cluster brightens as it receives the gas. The vagus nerve has also been lengthened and braided with superconducting nanotubes. This allows internal physiological states, like the calm of the parasympathetic system, to be shared instantly across continents. Even the brain's default mode network has been reprogrammed. Instead of defaulting to thoughts of the self, human consciousness now defaults to the external field. This list under the transformed body tracks how these modifications shift the human experience from that of an isolated survivor to a voluntary instrument of planetary resonance. These changes culminate in a daily ritual called the Sahaja Communion. Hundreds of citizens step onto a living mandala grown from engineered neuromoss. The moss acts as a distributed nervous system. As the participants touch it, the physical sensation of having boundaries or skin dissolves. Connection becomes recursive. When a child touches Amrita, she experiences the child's experience of her, which is nested within the ocean's experience of them both. This leads to the synchronization of 2 million engineered hearts. They snap into a single pulse, a phenomenon known as Unity's roar. That heartbeat is linked to the physical breathing of the Earth, from the Indian Ocean gyre to 10,000 kilometers of coral reef. In this world, non-duality is no longer a spiritual concept you practice. It is a physiological fact that you live. After the roar of communion, the scale of the experience can be overwhelming. On the quiet heights of the Tibetan plateau, the mind begins to process what it has just felt. A traveler named Fletcher expressed a lingering anxiety. His guide, Zoran, explains that unity, or Brahman, is not a finish line. If the private self is gone and we have achieved perfect unity, is the human journey effectively over? It is not a static state of perfection where everything stops. Reaching this biological harmony doesn't end the story. It simply upgrades the setting. Zoran calls it the cosmos upgrading its own costume department. The universe partitions itself into separate bodies just to experience the specific joy of finding itself again. Bioengineering is simply a new way for the cosmos to play at hiding and seeking. This text serves as a reminder that the network is already active. Even without upgrades, your next breath is a direct contribution to the heartbeat of the planet.